It'll be right between the eyes.
Gimmicks, setups, techs, and everything cool. It's time to level up. Lovely with Razor.
Hello everyone, Smooth Razor once again. Today I'll be talking about playing around Scarlet gaps, and I'll be talking about 5 different ways of doing this. The first method is going to be the stagger, number 2 fatal blow, 3 parry, 4 slower special, number 5 is going to be faster specials. So now we'll talk about number 1 first, and that's the stagger, right? The gaps I'll be using this for is 1 2 4 forward 4 3 4 to tentacle, 4 to 1, you go back 3 4, and you can this also one of it, and this is also one. So now the thing about Scarlet is that her gaps also make her strong at times, in the sense that she has good stagger pressure that is at times hard for the opponents to react, because most of the time if you do 1 2 4, you're going to have an opponent that twitches his block. Like for instance, let me go to Joker. I record Scarlet, so let's see, 1 2, okay, I'll just stagger 1 2 so you see what I mean. 1 2 1 2, right? So you have 1 2. At times you see opponents do this, like you see them twitching the block, so it makes it really hard for them to react to the next button input you're gonna do. At times some people do this 1 2, like some people's flawless blocks comes out as a jump 2, so 1 2, you get what I'm trying to say. So staggering Scarlet's, like the things before her gaps are very effective. I've noticed that a lot. You can just stagger it and please get some space, 1 2 get some space, or 1 2 going for a mid. You can go in for short hops at times because they're going to be busy trying to time the flawless blocks. Going for grab, you get what I'm trying to say. You throw up your timing, at times you get clipped by that. So also, whereas 1 2 4 forward 4 3, the same goes for the back one. As you can see, the start of the next move here is 18 frames, right? So at times you do this, especially when spaced. Back 1, you go for the forward 2, back 1, you go for back 3. You do not always have to complete this and get flawless blocks. You could always do back 1, you could even get out of there while they're trying to time your flawless block, or you could just dash back and do an overhead. So I hope that helps you. Now same goes for 4 2 1. As you can see, that's 24 frame startup, right? So at times you can do this. Of course it has some recovery because minus 12, but it still works very well. You do forward 2 while they're trying to time this, or trying to time the gap in between tentacle. You could just do 1, especially when spaced out. You could do forward 2, then do the second one, or forward 2. You get what I'm trying to say? Like you could also do forward 2, just stagger it, then do not just always complete the stuff and be predictable. At times staggering an individual button with Scarlet is very strong. Same goes for back 1. You don't always have to do back 3. You don't always have to do this. At times you could do back 3, then this, back 3 ups. In a way, I'm going to talk about anti-airing because most opponents jump, especially for the 1 2 4 and this. So there are some people that when they try to flawless block, they end up getting a jump 2, right? So what you're gonna do is how do I really record this with Joker right now? Let's put custom reversal. I'm just gonna jump. Let's try that. I'll set it on custom, so reversal attack. Let's see if it jumps. Yeah, so 1, get ready to anti-air their jump 2. It works at times. For that is for the opponents that jump while trying to flawless block. Just anti-air their jump 2 attempts. Let's try this one. Okay, when they jump or trying to flawless block you, just anti-air them. It's something that's gonna happen once in a while. And now we'll move on to the second number, which is using the fatal blow to cover her gaps. So now 1, 2, 4, the final hit comes out in 21. Let me turn off the reversal. 1, 2, 4, the final hit comes out in 21 frames, while your fatal blow comes out in, let's see, up close, 13, let's just say 14 frames because of the active frames involved. While for forward 4-3, your second move comes up to 23 frames, and this comes out in let's just say 13 frames. So basically, if the opponent like 1-2, they release their block to flawless block, right? Or forward 4-3, the moment they release their block to get the flawless block, they'll get clipped by the fatal blow. So that's why this technique is very good when you're low on health. So that will let you get away with gaps a lot more, because they're going to be scared of something like this. It's going to blow up their flawless block attempts. They'll just get clipped by the fatal blow because they're trying to flawless block the gap. Also, the same goes for this. You blow up their flawless block attempts. And now this also covers the gap in the forward to tentacle. Let's say the back 3-4, because up close this doesn't have a gap, right? So that's why I'm not talking about those now. So the back 3-4, this or this and this, or let's say or this. You can also cover these gaps with fatal blow depending on the conditioning. For instance, I'll go to the corner, because usually covering the gaps from these with the fatal blow, it works a lot better in the corner. So now let's go to what am I doing? Let's go to the right. So first of all, you have to condition your opponents. So for instance, up close, do something like this. Yeah, that's okay. So as you can see, the next move comes out in 18 frames. This is still faster. So there's a possibility of clipping them, trying to flawless block. So what you do is that you condition them a bit. You come up close, you throw one of these, just try and like annoy them in the corner with stuffs like this. Back 3-4. You come up close in their face, you do something like this. So this are conditioning them before your head gets to 30. So when it's at 30, they will try flawless blocking this. So this is what you do. At times you can clip, and this works against very good opponents that always flawless blocks, not just regular bad players. The same goes for these. By the time you've conditioned them with this, when they're trying to go for the flawless block, they get clipped by the fatal blow. Then you also have this or this when they want to go for the flawless block. What's going on there? They get clipped by it. So I hope you understand what number 2 is all about, using the fatal blow to cover the gap. So now I'll move on to the next number. So now we're on to number 3, and we're back to the main screen as well, using the parry to cover her gaps. Her parry is 9 frame on startup. But what I've noticed, use the parry to cover the 1-2-4 and the forward 4-3. The parry isn't really used to cover the gaps in these options, just because you cannot special cancel into the parry, unlike these options where you can special cancel into the parry. So one thing you should know is that the parry is gonna, any move 9 frames, any wake up, or let's say any up 2 or up 3, 9 frames and below, is gonna beat out your parry if the opponent goes for the up 2 immediately. You know, when you flawless block, you hear the sound and you go for your up 2, right? But at times some opponents are slow. Against slow opponents, you're gonna clip them a lot with the parry, even though they have a 9 frame or faster wake up attack. At times, the thing should also, something you should know about the parry, it gets beat out by 10 frame wake ups a lot. So if you do it like the forward 4-3 doesn't get beat out, this doesn't get beat out by 10 frames, because the opponent has to block the low, and for some reason that adds some extra frame to their stand. You know, flawless block attacks are done standing, so before they stand, you're still going to be able to clip any 10 frame with the forward 4-3 into the parry. But while standing from the 1-2-4, you're not going to be able to parry the 10 frames if done immediately. So now I'll show you an example. So against characters like Joker, for instance, up 2 is 9 frames, I believe. So against a good skilled player that does the up 2 very fast after flawless blocking, please note that you cannot use you cannot use your parry to absorb that. But against a character like Sub-Zero, Sub-Zero's up to is 11 frames, meaning that both from 4-3-4 or the 1-2-4, her parry is gonna eat it. Sub-Zero's up 3 is 10 frames, meaning that from the standing 1-2-4, he's gonna be able to beat you out. But that doesn't stop you from doing your parry attempt to get the up 2. Because the worst you could get from Sub-Zero is an up 3. So please, you have to love against different characters and note that. While against a character like Sindel, her up 3 is 13 frames, meaning that you can absorb it with your parry from any options. That's the 1-2-4 or the 4-4-3. And her up 3 is 11 frames, meaning against Sindel, feel free to throw out the parry to cover the gaps. She doesn't have something fast enough to cover it. So I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So now I'm going to show you an example real quick with Joker. Now I'll record Scarlet doing 1-2-4 into this, so that it's 10 framers. Like 10 framers is gonna beat it. As you can see, my Joker 10 frame up 3 beats it. But if the opponent is slow, you see they'll get clipped even though they have 10 frame, and obviously the 9 frame is gonna beat it for sure, as you can see. So now I'll go to the forward 4-3. But now why this is different is that of course 9 frames is still gonna beat it, but the 10 frame, no 10 frame can beat this. Sorry. So concerning the specific characters that it works well against and not, maybe in a future video I'll make a list of the characters that Scarlet Parry can like catch their up 2 and up 3s, but that's gonna be on another video. So now let's move on to the next number. So number 4 on my list, I have slower special, or using a slower move to cover her gaps, in the sense that this works very well for the forward 2 tentacle, or let's say the forward 2 bloodshot, back 3 tentacle at the distance, or back 3 bloodshot at the distance also has a gap, or let's just say the back 3-4. It also works well for the back 1-2, which is flawless blockable. So using slower moves, this doesn't really relate to these, but it can also work. First of all, I'll start with forward tentacle. We all know that forward 2 tentacle has a flawless blockable gap. You have a lot of frames to do something. Let's see that. Like the forward 2 has a cancel advantage of 17. And this comes out in, let's say, basically 26 frames, right? Yeah, so they have about 9 frames to interrupt. They have about 9 frames to do something. So they're gonna, at times they all use that 9 frame to go for a flawless block attempt. So instead of doing this, at times throwing out a slower move really throws the opponent off guard, because they're gonna be there twitching their block, trying to flawless block the tentacle, just throw a blood ball out. This is even better if you have the slow blood ball equipped. That's the one that you can slow down the speed or increase the speed, because when you slow down the speed you even have more plus frames to work with, and they can't just duck under that and get their turn easily, so it's still gonna be your turn. So while you throw this out to condition them a bit, once in a while throw out the slower option. It's gonna throw off their timing. Most people even get clipped by the blood ball. Why also for the low at such distance, you throw out the slower option, the blood ball, instead of always doing this. As you can see, this is 29 frames, right? Of course it's slow, and this is the special here is 21 frames. But when you throw out a blood ball, even slower option, the blood ball at times is going to land on their block animation, because this is why they're trying to flawless block this. They're going to end up blocking the slower option that they couldn't flawless block because they aren't expecting that timing. It also works well for this. As you can see here, the 2 comes out in 18 frames. So when you do this at times, it's also going to throw them off, and they'll block the blood ball. And of course, blocking the blood ball at this range, as you can see, leaves you at +7. So using a slower move is always a very good way to cover the gaps in this distance string. As I said, for 1-2-4 and forward 4-3, it's not the best. Well, at times I've done it, but please, it's very risky, and good players will react to these. At times, because the next move comes out in 23 frames, there are times I still go for the blood ball, so I do something like this. Although this is super risky, if the opponent is slow to react, they're not going to flawless block this, because it's a lot slower than the forward 4-3, and it's just -3 on block, so you could even, let's say, try mashing out. The same goes for this. While they're waiting for the 21 frame 4, that's the standing 4 at the end, you could just do 1-2 this on block, you're only -3. Although they could duck and punish, this is very risky for 1-2-4 and forward 4-3. I do not advise you use this really, but it's very good off the range too. So now move on to the next number. And now we're on to the final number, using a faster special. And using this faster special, the two specials I really go for is the blood splatter and the blood mist. If you do not know the blood mist, it's a restant tool that was in the hemorrhage variation, that's before customs. But it's red mist. When you use red mist, you lose your tentacle, so it's not something a lot of Scarlet players really go for right now. So I'm going to do this video with the blood splatter, right? And this is a very strong tool, although it's the blood splatter on block is -16 and highly punishable. The amplified one is what so -16 as well, but blood splatter being 16 frame on startup really covers this gap exceptionally. If anyone tries to flawless block, they'll get clipped. If you do the normal one, it's going to be a standing reset. If you do the amplified, it's going to blow them away and you have your plus frame to start your zoning. So as you can see here, 1-2-4 21 frames. Then you could also do 1-2-16. It's going to clip them while they are releasing their block to flawless block the 4. While for the 4-3-4, you can see 23 frames. So this past 16 frames for sure going to clip them. It works very well. Although this is a risky option, it's an amazing way to cover hard gaps when you've conditioned the opponents to press. That's what I feel, and it works. It's not what I feel, it works. I've tried it a lot. The same goes for the 4-10 screw. This is a lot better in the corner because it could serve as a launcher, and the same goes for if you've done this a lot, you could go for this. It works very well in the corner, and the same goes for this, right? So first of all, let's talk about the ones that work well on the main screen. I'll go to Joker. So this is what happens, right? You have while trying to flawless block, 1-2 blood splatter, right? 1-2. The moment 1-2, as I'm trying to time the upcoming 4, at times they could also flawless block that. But 1-2, while they're trying to time 1-2, they get clipped by that. And as you can see there, that is +16, right, for Scarlet. As you can see, +15. So if you get clipped by that, they could always jail their forward 4, their forward 2. So 1-2, you throw in the blood splatter to clip their, the final hit is slow. So while they're trying to flawless block the 4, 1-2-4, at times they could always do that, but that is only if they're waiting for a faster timing. 1-2-4, they get clipped by that. It works a lot better from this. So you do something like this. So one, you see, like the low comes out slow, but this comes out really fast. So this is a lot better from the forward 4. They get clipped by that, and she's +9, meaning you can go for your forward 2, or your back 3. Now I'll take us to the corner and show the other examples. I always mess this stuff up. Defaults. Let's go to the right. So now with Scarlet, control player 1, how this works is that you have to condition them. It's also now from all options, it's a lot deadlier in the corner. That's the blood splatter to cover the gap. This also has a gap, as we know. This has a gap and it's very popular. People know that Scarlet players go for this a lot in the corner because it's a launcher. And these have a gap, or let's say these have a gap. So in the corner you could do 1-2 amplified blood splatter. Why this is very deadly in the corner is that it's a combo launcher. The same goes for these. And if you've conditioned your opponent to respect this a lot, a high level player would like to flawless block you, then you go for something like this. Amplified, get a combo. The same goes for these. Why they're trying to get, the next hit here comes out in 29 frames. You go for your fast 16 frame amplified blood splatter. You go for your fast 16 frame amplified blood splatter and you blow them up. The same goes for these. Okay, it really isn't safe from here because 18 frame is the next hit move and 16 is the next move, but we already got the rest established. So now this is how it's gonna look. I'll go to let me just record a blood splatter combo. So for instance, if you get 1-2, if they try going for a flawless block, they get hit by only the blood splatter. They could do something like this. You get a 24% combo depending on your variation. As you can see there, I did a standing reset. So I hope this video helped you and just show you some ways you can play around Scarlet Gap. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on another video. Stay smooth.
Loving with razor.